Hey guys, it's Adam, and hope you're doing lovely. And I see we're in a different area that we've been before, and that's because we're going virtual for the first time. And you're watching Do You Watch Anime? Where I sit down with a guest and ask them, "Do you watch anime?" And we go from there. And today, joining me is voice actor of many animes like Romantic Killer, Evangelion, voices in Miraculous as well. Deneen Melody, thank you so much for coming on.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So let's get on with the question. Do you watch
Yes,
anime?
I sure do. Yeah, I
So,
do. Admittedly, let me just say I don't watch as much nowadays as I used to, but I still watch it. I have a couple of favorites that I have to watch every now and then.
of,
So yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
So how did you first find anime slash get into it?
Oh man. I've been forever. Forever. Part of it was that my family before I was born, my father was in the military and they were stationed over in Japan for a few years.
Oh
And
wow.
so like they were kind of already into like Japanese animation and everything like that. So by the time I was born, like I was already like watching Speed Racer, Unico, which was one of my favorites when I was really little. I remember when Akira came out, and I was like 4 or 5 years old, and like watching that with like my brothers, like not
Oh
really
my god.
understanding. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I watched some. I'm not even kidding. I don't even think I understood what was going on,
I
but
hope not.
yeah, for a long time, and then it just in so I'm a little bit older. I was around when anime was on VHS and everything and when it was even on like the Sci-Fi channel and everything. Um so it's been in my life since I was tiny tiny tiny. Um I would say though I didn't really start getting into it until like so many other people Toonami. Like Toonami is what made me get really into it.
hmm
Like just like so many people of that generation because it was there and you didn't have to like seek out the VHS, you could just wait and watch it. Yeah, so it's been in my life a long time. I have like DVD collections and VHS still from like my childhood with me that I like brought from Texas. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that because like my dad is like a sales business person. I don't know. He's gonna yell at me that I didn't say it right. Um, and he used to do stuff in Japan as well. And he would always bring me home like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and be like, "Oh, here's this giant Godzilla that's like I took up an entire airplane seat for." And
That's
it's just
amazing. I'm jealous.
yeah. But yeah, it's just like it's so funny like hearing another person like grow up with that early. Um
Oh yeah. Yeah. I
mhm,
mean, cuz when you're over in Japan, it's such a big thing over there.
mhm,
And then it's just like it kind of stays in your life.
mhm,
So, yeah.
totally. And like you were talking about Toonami and like over
Mhm.
here we have a television station called YTV, where most of us Canadian, sorry, Canadians got our start on anime, which
Yeah.
was like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor
Yep.
Moon,
Yep.
Pokemon, the the nostalgic classics. Yeah. So from Toonami, where did you go from there?
So, to be honest,
hmm
well, actually, during that time, like, Toonami then had me venture into other anime. My favorite of all time, by the way, is Escaflowne, The Vision of Escaflowne, and
Okay.
everything. That was on, so here in America, that was on Fox for a little bit,
Oh
but they
wow.
edited it down and then they pulled it. And so I had to like search out the VHS tapes and stuff like that. I'd have to go to like these little anime stores that I'd have to find around
hmm
Houston to get them. But I got into things like Serial Experiments Lane, which was stuff like that.
Okay. Wow.
And then
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think my interest, I was still always into anime. It was always there. Kind of went more into like JRPGs as I got a little bit older because I
Okay.
could like actually play them. And then also then I started getting into World of Warcraft. So anime started to take a little bit of a backseat.
Hmm.
I moved, I started pursuing like film and TV, and then I got back into it. So it's like that full circle thing.
Hmm.
Um, I started watching Attack on Titan,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
it's so good. And that kind of brought me back. And I started doing voiceover because of anime. So it got me back into wanting to watch it and kind of catch up,
Hmm.
because I felt like there was so much that I missed in that little window of time that I kind of, you kind of step away from things for a bit and
Hmm.
then, yeah, you come back to it.
Hmm. Yeah. I feel like that's like a universal thing. Like
Hmm.
I think I've had, oh, geez, I think I've had like so many people on being like, oh yeah, I kind of like got out of it. Either the reason being they just like kind of, I don't know, got other interests or like they got
Yeah.
bullied because of it. But like it's it's really interesting to be like, and then I came, dove back right into it. So obviously, like I said off the top, you're a voice actor. Um,
Yes.
how did you exactly get your foot in the door into like anime voice acting, kind of?
Classes.
Okay.
Like, I know that sounds so silly, but it's true. And it's so funny because you'll see like kind of this dialogue with voice acting and anime and stuff. And I am one of those people who, again, anime was probably along with JRPGs and just animation in general.
Hmm.
Because I just loved animation, whether it was like Disney, things like Winx Club, Witch, stuff like that. That's what wanted me to get into voiceover because I loved all of that stuff. And I had lived in places prior to moving to Los Angeles where, at least at the time, I wasn't aware that there might be, studios or things that were available to me to kind of pursue that. I always thought either I needed to live in Dallas because of Funimation
Yeah.
or up in Canada because they have,
Hmm.
I believe it's Ocean up there,
Yep.
and then or Los Angeles because I knew, there were studios out here that were recording it. So when I moved to Los Angeles, I moved out here to start pursuing voiceover, but again, I got distracted to pursue voiceover in like film and TV and stuff. And when I first moved here, I did go to an animation voiceover class. Um, but then I got distracted with like theater and stuff like that. It takes up and dance. I am a dancer, and that
Hmm.
kind of took up a lot. And then there was just one moment I remember even talking to my very good friend Caitlin Galt, who also does voiceover, and fantastic director as well. And I remember telling her during a rehearsal, I'm like, I want to do voiceover. Specifically, like I want to be an anime voice actor. And that conversation always sat with me. And one day I was just like, I need to do this. I finally just need to do this. I need to look how to get into it. And classes popped up for Adventures in Voice Acting, which was associated and is still associated with Bang Zoom.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so through them, yeah, and so through them, I met Dora Fine, who is just absolutely amazing. Worked with Tony Oliver, and going to those classes, I just learned a lot, and I eventually had the opportunity to read for the casting director there, Mami Okada, and she's amazing, and that's what kind of got my foot through the door. So. And that's what I always tell anybody who's interested in voice acting. I know it sounds kind of like blah, boring to be like classes, but classes are so important because not only are you there to learn, but that's where you meet everybody. You meet your connections, you meet people who are in the industry, and their input and their advice is so valuable. And it's going to help you get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
That
100%.
was kind of long.
Yeah. No. 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 That's good. That's good. It's all to those like aspiring voice actors out there. Classes help.
They do. They do.
Hmm.
I even say, so let's say the most important thing in voiceover is just being a good actor. And so acting classes in general are so important. But you can already be a very skilled actor, but voiceover is still different. So it's still smart to take some classes so you can learn, the specific skills that go with that, especially anime, because it's a dubbing process. And it's very different than just being at a microphone and delivering lines. And you get to meet, again, the people who are within the industry, and you get to learn and gain that knowledge, and it's great.
Me and my fiance watched Romantic Killer, and we absolutely loved it. We knew nothing nothing going into it, other than you were in it.
Yeah.
And and so, how was the recording process for Anzu? Because she hit some very low octaves and some very high stuff, and I'm like, oh my
Yes.
god.
Yes. I have to be honest, so I've played some larger supporting characters and everything before, and I've played leads in video games, but I had yet to play an anime lead. So she was my first, and she was such a gift, especially for what you just said, because it's very rare you get a character where you use every bit of your voice. I'm not even kidding. We made that comment every session.
Yep.
I used every level of my voice, every tone, every octave, as you said, I used every low register I had. My regular voice was the basis for Anzu,
Mhm.
but then it would either go up higher, lower, or gravelly.
Yeah.
And you don't always get that with characters,
Mhm.
Sure, you'll get characters where they experience all different types of emotion, but because it's kind of like that parody, that satire thing where they're making fun of that trope in a
Yeah.
bit, it would go over the top, from one extreme to another. And yes, my voice would get tired because we would be in long sessions. We would have 4-hour sessions.
Oh,
But
yeah.
my director, Kathy, she was just, I love her so much. She would always make sure that I was being taken care of, that I was resting my voice when I needed to. Lots of hot tea and honey, but it was wild. It was wild. I mean, we would never know what to expect when I would go in.
I
It would go from oh, I'd step in and the first scene would just be something really cute, and I'd be like, maybe this will be an easy day. And then the very next scene, it's the cockroach. Stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, I mean, it was wild, but we were always laughing too.
Mhm.
That was the thing. It's just such a genuinely funny and relatable anime
Mhm.
as well. She's so relatable. I mean, the whole cat
Oh my
thing,
god.
and
Yeah.
I actually was wearing a cat shirt, a Star Wars. I have a Star Wars cat
Mhm.
shirt where
Oh, I
it's
love that.
Rey, but it's a cat, and I was wearing that, and Kathy was like, "I knew I cast the right person for this role." Yeah, so she definitely probably some of the most fun I've ever had recording any show, any project. I mean, our team was just great. I loved everybody who worked on it. Our writers were great. Kathy was great. Everybody who recorded, oh, they had to deal with me screaming in their ears, for four
Yeah.
hours at a time. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I really do feel so grateful to have voiced her, and hopefully we get a second season. Everybody wants
Hopefully.
that.
Yes.
Everybody wants it.
Mhm.
So,
Fingers
fingers
crossed.
crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
They left it on a cliffhanger.
They did. They
Yeah.
did.
So, who knows?
Who knows? I really hope so. Give me it now.
No. It's so funny. It's
It's
so funny.
it took me out of left field. I was not cuz sometimes comedy doesn't translate well between English and Japanese. It
Exactly.
depends on the source material, but that was just literally so funny. Belly laughs
Yeah.
every episode.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was important to me to really keep, because the original Japanese performance is so great and so funny.
Mhm.
And so I basically was wanting to do whatever she was doing with her voice. I was like, I want to do that. I want to honor that, because that's what made it funny was because it wasn't just her being shrill all the time. She would, like, whenever she would turn into, like, the masculine, like,
Oh my God.
character, and stuff like that. It
Yeah.
was so fun. It really was kind of a, unexpected show. Like, nobody knew how it was going to do. Nobody really knew much about it because the source material, while it's out there, not a lot of people had heard about it. So we were very all pleasantly surprised that it's done very well on Netflix and that like so many people have watched it. I have friends that aren't even anime fans because I can understand not liking anime, sure, but
Yeah.
they enjoyed that just because it's funny. It's like genuinely funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's special.
Yeah, it is. And it is one of the anime that I recommend to people who are asking me, what do I watch when I'm like getting into anime, or like
Yeah.
or I want I don't want to get depression when I'm watching an anime. What do I watch? And I'm like, Romantic Killer's right there. It's
Yes.
right there.
And it's a 12 episodes, so it's like, and it's a fun, easy watch. Like some shows, I love them, but they can be very heavy. And while Romantic Killer does have some heavy themes,
It does.
in it towards the end especially, it's not a heavy, like it doesn't make you, it's such a nice, easy watch. Like you said you watched it, in a span of how many hours? And
Yeah.
I know people who've watched it over the weekend or even just like in one night.
Mhm.
Like, that's why it's a good show to, recommend to people. I'm always like, watch Romantic Killer, please.
Yeah,
Not just for
please.
me.
Yeah.
It's just really funny. And I
Yeah.
want it to do well. So
Straight up. And like even the manga is really like unique as well because
so
it's
funny.
it's just all color.
I
as
have
well.
it here somewhere. Wait, where did I put it? It's in, wait, yes.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
it's in all color, and I'm like, whoa.
I know. Look at this.
Yeah.
So cool.
So
This was
cool.
so cool because right before the show came out, I walked into a store that sells like comics, and they have like a small little manga section. It's not a big one, and she was staring straight at me. Like, there you go. She was staring straight at me, and I was like, I have to get it. Like, So yeah,
Yeah.
so good, so funny.
Yeah.
Love you, Anzu.
So you've played a lot of like sweet beans and like lovely nice characters, and one of my favorite anime is ReZero.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
it's really funny because I've played a handful of sweet beans,
Yeah.
but I think most of them are actually not that sweet.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's one of them.
Yep. When I first watched through ReZero, we got to Pandora, and I was like, I am terrified.
She is a very scary child.
Yeah.
Not technically. So, I mean, like, if we want to get technical,
Yeah.
she's not a child.
No.
Sorry, I'm trying to get this book down here so it doesn't get in the way. But, she's scary. She's scary. And it's really, when I got cast as her, there are several like
Yes.
cute girl characters in that show, and I actually was thinking maybe I would play one of the other like witches or another one of those characters, and then I got Pandora, and I was like, I didn't know too much about her at first, and then I watched the Japanese, and I was like, oh. Wow. Like, I love it, but wow, she's awful in
Yep.
the best way, but also not in the best way.
Yep.
I actually am not exaggerating when I say this. I was actually, when we recorded it, so I was familiar with it because I watched the original Japanese. Thankfully, we had that available to us. It was already streaming, so I was able to kind of see it. I was prepared, I thought. I went in to record, and some of the stuff she does is so terrible and so hard to watch that I got upset in the booth over what my character was doing. I was like, oh, Pandora. In that voice.
Oh my God.
Because she has that very creepy, like, soft voice. She doesn't seem like she would, like, do what she does. But I love her. She's actually probably I have many favorites, but I have favorites for different reasons, and she's definitely one of them because she's a terrible, terrible bean, but she is so fun to play. So fun to play. I actually have found I love playing villains. I love playing the bad guy. Yeah, especially if they're cute.
Yeah, sometimes playing the villains
Mhm.
like the best.
So good. So good. The best, like, it's kind of it's not fortunately, unfortunately, because I don't know what that says about me. That's kind of when I very first started, I felt like, everybody kind of gets like typecast, and
Hmm.
for a bit my typecast was kind of just like all the cute, like just cute bubbly characters or like shy characters. And then it kind of went into kind of more like tomboyish characters, and then in the past few years it has been cute evil little things, and I'm here for it, but I'm like, oh no, I
Oh
promise
no.
I'm not evil.
Yeah. I promise. I promise.
Yes, I promise. And just a little like trivia, I recorded her at the same time I was recording Mari
Oh.
from Evangelion, who is a very like more like heroic-y type of character, in a way, especially with some of
Hmm.
her scenes, and very uplifting.
Yeah.
Like she's a very positive character in a very dark, story.
Yeah.
And I had to record them back to
Oh my
back.
god.
And it was so interesting going from playing and recording a character like Mari and then having to go and record Pandora.
Yeah.
I was like, whew,
The
whiplash.
yeah. Yeah, the difference.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mm.
So, is there an anime slash franchise that you would love to be a part of?
There's several.
Oh.
Um, I've always loved Bunny Girl
Mm.
Senpai, but that has gotten, it looks like there's maybe something coming up, a dub,
Hmm.
and I'm very excited because a lot of those actors are amazing. I
Yes.
love them.
Hmm.
But if they continue that world, I would love to be in it somewhere. My big one now, and I've mentioned it so many times on Twitter, is Dance Dance Danseur.
I knew
And
it.
that is because, I am a professional ballet dancer.
Hmm.
Professional dancer. I don't do ballet in that extent anymore. It was, I had an injury, so, and even though I do dance, I can't do that level. But it's still a very big part of my life. And I watched that show, of course, because of the ballet, but it surprised me how accurate it really is to that world of dance, especially for young people, young dancers who are training at that level. It really hit home, and it hit hard, like in a good way.
Hmm.
The main character, while he is a boy, his passion and his love for dance just like hit home, and it's such. Have you seen it? Have you
No,
seen
no,
it?
no. It's on my list though. It's like top of the list.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah, it's animated by Mappa, so like it's
Yeah,
stunning.
it's so beautiful. And it's not even that. I feel like, so just like I was saying about, okay, romantic killer people don't have to like anime. I feel like you don't even have to like anime for this either, because the
Hmm.
story and the entire like message behind it can hit home for anybody who has something that they love and are passionate about. And it really is, even though so far there's only one season. If they ever decide to dub that season, I just want to be a part of it.
Hmm.
So bad. That's kind of become like, in terms of anime, like my grail. I've been very fortunate with, like, I had wanted to be like in a Fate anime, and I eventually got that.
Yeah,
There's a couple of other things that I've been very lucky to be a part of, but that would be like the one
the one.
that I want to do.
Yeah.
Um, if they ever do anything, like, I love Magic Knight Rayearth.
Okay.
I think the original dub is still fantastic, but if they ever do like a reboot, kind of like they did with Sailor Moon,
Hmm.
I would love to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Serial Experiments Lane,
Oh, so good.
one of my all-time favorites. Again, I think so. Anybody who's watching this and you're curious about Serial Experiments Lane, I really love the original dub. I still think it holds up. But if they ever reboot it,
If third time's a charm. All right.
we got
So
this.
we got this. So you voiced Mari from Evangelion, and so what is it like voicing someone from such a large iconic franchise?
It's an honor. Like, I say that all the time too. Like, I think people probably get tired of me saying it's an honor. It's an honor. But it is. I mean, it's Evangelion. It's such an important, impactful anime. I watched it when I was young. In fact, it's always been one of my favorite. You can see that I have consistently throughout my life have listed it in my top 5. Asuka has always been one of my favorite characters, and I never in a million years thought I would be a part of Evangelion. It was one of those shows where it was like, I thought it was already done. And if there was anything more, like that there wouldn't be any other actors, or anything like that. They did the Netflix dub. So I was like, okay, they did that. What else are they going to do? I just never thought out of all of the different franchises that there are, that it would be Evangelion that I would be in.
Yeah.
And to be a part of it is one thing, but to be one of the pilots, to be this gal who I love, I have never connected with a character the way that I connected with our portrayal of Mari. And we worked very closely with Studio Kara, on that. And everything in the studio in Japan. And it was seamless for me to just go in, and I had so much fun recording her. Our team was fantastic. Joe Freya, our director, he just put so much love in it. David Cobb, our engineer, and the original voice cast of Tiffany Grant, Amanda Wynn Lee, Spike Spencer.
Yeah.
It's just I could not believe that I was joining their ranks, I still can't. Sometimes I'm like, wow, because I grew up listening to them. I loved the English dub. That's what I watched. So yeah, very surreal. She is my favorite character that I have voiced. I'm very proud of those films. I'm very proud to be Mari. I think all of her voice actresses, I love Maya Sakamoto, who is her Japanese, Trina Nishimura, who voiced her in the Funimation version, who is an absolute powerhouse of a performer, and I love her version of Mari. To kind of be with them, portraying this character, it's an honor. And I don't know if anything like Evangelion will ever come my way again. It's just that special. Yeah. And we didn't know that's what it was when I auditioned. Some people didn't. From what I understand, they didn't audition. I did have to audition. I was one of those that did have to audition.
Yeah.
I auditioned for Mari, and I didn't know at first what it was. I figured it out, and yeah, I couldn't believe I booked it. I found out around Christmas that I
lovely
got it.
Christmas
it was the
present.
Best, yeah, it was the best Christmas present ever. I was actually on a Zoom call with my friend Jen Losi, who's an amazing, talented voice actor as well. I love her, and yeah, she did not know I booked it because of NDAs.
Yeah.
She didn't know anything. She just knew that we were talking, and I had received an email, and I started crying, and that's why. And eventually, she found out why. Yeah. So.
That's crazy.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. I feel very lucky to be a part of Evangelion and knowing that, there's always lots of changes in the world with anime and everything like that.
Yeah.
Cast changes, new projects, whether they're sequels, prequels, retellings, whatever. I am so... I get nostalgic in a way, and just kind of I will always be a part of it, and I love that. It's very special, just like any project, but it's Evangelion.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
her
that.
too. I really do.
Yeah,
I love her
she's a
so much.
yeah, she's such a cute character and I love it. So my question is, how did
Yes.
you find it out? Like how did you figure it out when you were trying to figure out what your audition was for?
So I'm a little bit of a detective.
Yeah.
They gave it a completely different name, so
Yeah.
you didn't know the name.
Mhm.
Um, but I kind of like, so I didn't see, I had seen the first Evangelion film, and then that was
Mhm.
during that period when the other films came out where I was kind of not watching as much anime, but I was
Mhm.
still familiar enough with it. It was
Mhm.
still my life enough that I knew that there was this new character, Mari.
Yeah.
And there was something with the dialogue that they sent me that made me go, huh, this makes me think of Evangelion. And I knew that the fourth movie, because the fourth movie was like, people knew that it was in production and stuff. And I knew that the fourth movie was coming up. So I just kind of like, in my head was like, I think this is Evangelion. I
Mhm.
think this is Evangelion. And I was like, I knew, I didn't know that it was going to be a whole redub either.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they were just redubbing the fourth film. I really didn't. It's like I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on. I thought
Mhm.
we were just doing the fourth film. And then we found
Yeah.
out we were doing all of them,
That's crazy.
like to put on Amazon. Yeah, I found that out in my first session. So it was just kind of like, yeah, just kind of wild. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's detective work because whenever
Mhm.
you do get auditions, most of the time you're not going to know what you're auditioning for.
Yeah.
But when it becomes to anime or like JRPGs, stuff like that, that
Mhm.
material is usually already out there, you
Yeah.
know? And you can sometimes figure out what it could possibly be,
Mhm.
or you can at least get close and that can
Yeah.
help you. So yeah,
Mhm.
but and it was a quick turnaround. They sent me the audition.
Mhm.
At first I was like, I don't know what this is, and then I was like, oh, I think this is what it is. And then I, submitted the audition and then found out like quickly that I booked it.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was a
Yeah.
whirlwind for sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, it's definitely one of the wild experiences I had.
mhm.
Everything just happened so fast and for
Yeah.
something so big,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um so briefly you were mentioning you have a top 5. What is
Yes.
that top 5 favorite anime?
So you know what? It might have shifted because
Mhm.
but it's usually pretty much the same.
Mhm.
Escaflowne, specifically the Vision of Escaflowne, which is the
Mhm.
series, my all-time favorite anime. I have watched so much anime and nothing has even come close to that one for me. That is my favorite.
Love that.
I also do love the movie version of Girl in Gaia.
Okay.
But I love them both. But
Mhm.
that's definitely number one. Oh, by the way, I do not count Ghibli films in my top five because
Oh
they're a
yeah.
whole other
Oh yeah.
category
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me.
Same here.
Yeah,
Don't
I
worry.
just can't.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a whole
Mhm.
other thing. But it's Escaflowne,
Mhm.
Serial Experiments Lane, which we've
Okay.
we've kind of talked about. If there was ever a reboot of that,
Oh.
I would love to be in
Yeah.
that because I love Serial Experiments Lane. I
Mhm.
feel like it was so ahead of its time.
100%.
Um, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Um, I love Outlaw Star.
Okay, yeah.
And so many actors that I loved in that show I've gotten to work with now, like Ezra Weiss,
Yeah.
Steve Staley,
Mhm.
like two of them in general, like they played two of my favorite characters and I've worked with them now as directors.
Mhm.
They were my directors and it's kind of surreal.
Mhm.
Um love those. Evangelion,
Yep.
definitely. Um, and then, now I've seen Dance Dance Danseur. That would be in the top five.
Love
And then
that.
after that, there's a whole bunch of them. I love Digimon. I've always loved Digimon.
Oh, heck yeah.
Um, yeah, I love
Yeah.
Digimon. I even created like my own like Digimon character, like Digidestined and
Oh
stuff like
my
that,
god,
because
I
I was like,
love
"Ooh,
that.
I'm a nerd." Sailor Moon, of
Okay,
course,
yep.
I love
Of
Sailor
course.
Moon. Who does not love Sailor
Yeah,
Moon?
exactly.
I have to throw that in there. So these
Mhm.
are like everything. I mean, I listed my top five, but these are all very special anime to me.
Mhm.
Attack on Titan. I love Bubblegum Crisis.
Okay.
Just like Magic Knight Ray Earth, Mermaid Melody. I have so many favorites.
Yeah.
Akira. You
Oh yeah.
know. And then if you start to list the Studio Ghibli
Yeah.
movies, you got Howl's Moving Castle is number one
Oh
for
my
me.
god, so good.
It's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love so many though. I love
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball Z too because again the whole Toonami thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Cell and Android Saga especially were my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love like they're so good and I love
Yeah.
all of it. I've
Mm-hmm.
actually have gone and watched all of Dragon Ball Z and even Dragon Ball and still to this day the
Mm-hmm.
Android and then going into the Cell Saga
Mm-hmm.
are the top tier. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
Perfect Cell is the perfect villain.
Straight up.
Love him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I do love my Frieza, but
I love Frieza.
Cell will always scare the absolute shit out of me. Like
Yeah.
I will always be terrified, like the low voice as well, and I'm like, because like Frieza's like a higher like ugh, like kind of like that. Like Cell is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
terrifying.
Yes. So good.
Yeah.
So, like him eating them is just like
Oh.
it'll live in our heads forever. What's
Mm-hmm.
your top 5?
My top 5 is My Hero Academia.
A good one.
Mm-hmm. Fruits Basket.
Another good one.
Yeah. Of course, I'm blanking right now. Of course. I
It
gotta look at my
happens. There's so many
tattoos.
of them.
Um,
There's so many.
hmm?
So many
Oh,
good anime.
Place Further Than the Universe. So good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that one is so good. That one hits me in the feels every time,
Oof.
and I crying. So good.
That's what Escaflowne does to me
Yeah.
every single time. I'm in tears.
Yeah.
Boy.
I gotta think. One Piece, obviously,
One Piece is
and
great.
yeah, and Freerin, actually, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all really good picks.
Yeah.
Did I say Attack on Titan?
Yes.
Yes, I
Yeah.
did. As one of my other things. Yeah.
Mhm.
Attack on Titan is fantastic
Yeah.
and I love it in both the English dub.
Mhm.
Mike McFarlane did an
Oh,
amazing job directing
so
that
good.
and the Japanese
Mhm.
and
Oh,
yeah.
both dubs for Attack on Titan are incredible.
Ooh,
Like,
Death Note.
oh,
Death Note.
so good.
I love Death Note. L is such a great character.
Oh, so good.
I cosplayed as him.
I love that. Love
So,
that.
I also want to give a shout out. Like my favorite anime is Escaflowne, and that was dubbed. There is a Funimation dub, but the original dub, which I fell in love with, was done in Canada
Mhm.
with Kelly Sheridan, Kirby Morrow. My favorite voice actor. I have so many of
Oh.
them, but Brian Drummond.
Mm.
Brian Drummond has voiced all of my favorite characters. Oh, Gundam Wing! I love
Yes.
Gundam Wing. I forgot Gundam Wing. I was like, oh yeah, he's voiced all my favorite characters. He voiced
Mhm.
Zex Marquise. He's
Yep.
so great. I love him, and he knows it too. I've told him multiple times. I'm like, you're my favorite. I love anime. Anime's so good. Oh, and Little Witch Academia.
Oh, that one's so cute.
That is one that I recommend to people all the time because I have a
Mhm.
lot of friends who love like the whole cottagecore vibe and
Mhm.
also people with the whole Harry Potter thing. I'm like, well, if you don't want to like, with Harry Potter, watch Little
Mhm.
Witch Academia instead.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great. And it
Mhm.
was directed by Laura Post.
Oh.
She's I keep saying amazing to everybody, but everybody I know is amazing. I'm just so like inspired by all these people.
Mhm.
She just did such a beautiful job like bringing the English dub, to life. And all of the actors are great. Erica Mendez, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
love it. So you voice some characters in Genshin, which is also going to be an
Yes.
anime.
I do. I voice some cuties and then a cutie who's not a me.
So how did that come to be?
I mean, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's still like I can't speak about it a lot because there's actually a lot I don't know, but there is a lot that I know. So and when I say that, I mean, like, she's a harbinger, so yeah, she's not good. The harbingers, that
Mhm.
was one where, like, I, had been doing, like, several of the NPCs and stuff like that, and I've auditioned for a couple of the playable characters, and that was another example of, I had a feeling when they sent it out it was Genshin, but I didn't know what the characters were. They don't tell you.
Mhm.
I had no idea. I had a feeling something was up with the character because she was kind of like, you know, uh, but I had no idea she was a harbinger
Oh wow.
until I was in this session,
Mhm.
and then they were like, "So you're just not like any character. You're one of these guys."
Wow.
And, like, I was like, "Yay, another villain to add to my collection." But I actually love it. I'm like, "Man, I feel very, like," again, here's my word, honored, but I feel very honored
Mhm.
to be a harbinger. I'm like, "Yes." Mwah. I love her. I wish I could say, there's a lot of stuff, again, that I don't know,
Totally.
though. I do hope that they make the
Mhm.
anime, they continue with it, and that she
Mhm.
appears. There's a couple, I don't know. So, aside from Mari, my other favorite character of all time is Ulk from from Phantasy Star Online
Okay.
2, and there's an anime of that, and they have not dubbed it yet. So I'm always
Mhm.
hoping that they're gonna dub it because she's in it, and I would love to voice her again.
Yes, please make more animes of these
Yes,
games.
make more
My
animes of these games. More
yes,
anime.
always more anime.
Yes. So fingers crossed for more Genshin anime. I don't know I don't know nothing. So if you guys try to ask me things, I don't know.
We don't know.
I
We
really
don't
don't.
know.
Like, that's not even
Yeah.
us trying to be like NDA. I mean, I actually don't know. We're having a dance party.
Yes, we are.
This is what happens when technology.
Yep. I love technology so much.
Yay!
Yay. All right. So I definitely
You know
did.
who else loves technology?
Who?
Psyduck.
Love it. All right. Let me see. All right. Oh, there we go. It literally cut back to Psyduck right on the camera. That was so. I was like, oh. Oh
He
my
was just
god.
waiting for you to notice him.
Actually, we won this at the con at a crane game.
Oh, look
This
at him!
weekend, yeah,
The baby.
yeah, the baby. He's like one
I
of my
love.
favorite Pokemon.
He is my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because he cracks me
Oh,
up.
oh
Like,
yeah.
yeah, because my favorite animals are foxes. So, of
Mhm.
course, I love Ninetales and Vulpix and Eevee, all the
Mhm.
fox Pokemon. I love Rapidash and everything
Yeah.
because I love unicorns and horses. But
Mhm.
Psyduck
Yeah.
cracks me up and has always made me laugh and has always, relatable. I'm like, I get you. Oh, look at the babies. I get Psyduck so much. Like,
Yep.
I understand.
I love
I
it.
understand his dilemmas. I
Mhm.
understand. He's good.
Yeah. Yeah. As someone who suffers from like migraines, I feel
Yeah.
seen. I feel seen. You
Yes.
know, like
Yes.
have
Migraines and anxiety.
yeah, migraines, anxiety. Have you seen the Pokemon Concierge?
Yes, I
Oh,
love
it's
it.
so good.
It's very cute.
It's so good. As soon as I saw that one was going to be like claymation stop motion kind of thing,
Yes.
and Psyduck was going to be a main Pokemon, I was like, oh, sign
That's
me up.
what sold me.
Yeah.
I mean, like, of course the claymation, but like Psyduck, anything
Yeah.
with Psyduck.
Yeah. Straight up.
I'm there.
Mhm.
100%.
100%.
100.
100%. This is going in, by the way, because that was a great bit.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes. Along with
Yay.
our dancing.
Yes, our dancing. So a couple more questions before we go. So how would you yourself pitch Romantic Killer to someone if they because it is a very out there
Oh,
concept for a show.
yeah. Um, I mean, I've had to try to explain it to people before,
Yeah.
as I've seen, because I recommend it to people who don't like anime.
Hmm.
Um, so to those people, and when I say don't like anime, it's just not their thing, and I
Yeah.
get it.
Hmm.
And a lot of the anime they don't like is that kind of trope that romantic killer is kind of you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you'll love this because it's actually, it's very self-aware. If you want
Hmm.
to watch a self-aware kind of satire anime that, the main girl is not your stereotypical cutesy anime protagonist. Or the soft-spoken anime girl protagonist. Then you'll love Romantic Killer.
Hmm.
It's like it because it also is in a way a romance, but it's a
Hmm.
different type of romance.
Yeah.
So that's what I always tell people. I'm like, this isn't your average romance anime. This is a satire, self-aware romance anime with a little creature that is hilarious, and you get to see them abuse each other.
Yep. Literally throw. You
They
get to.
literally do.
Yeah.
They are both so abusive to each other, and we should never condone abuse, but
No.
it is hilarious in
Yep.
that context.
Yep. The way
So funny.
the way she throws them is so
I know.
fun. Just out of like the room. Oh my god.
So funny. I would die.
Hmm.
And you know what? I love Courtney Lynn, who voices Riri. They
Yes.
are, here I am amazing, but they are.
Yep.
They're just a magical, magical person.
Yep.
But they did such a good job voicing Riri that I actually would be like, ugh, I would actually get annoyed. Like I could feel Anzu that in some of those scenes I was
Mhm.
feeling it. I was like, get out of here, like like ugh. So fun. But
Yeah.
it's also like I tell people, it's a laugh out loud anime.
Mhm. Yeah.
Everybody that I've known actually has a laughed out loud.
Mhm.
The guy characters are all so funny because they're tropes.
Yeah.
If you want to watch something that is again kind of making fun of all of those tropes in anime,
Mhm.
this is the show to do it because they hit every single like
Yeah.
so funny. Every time we would be introduced with a new guy,
Yeah.
I was like, what kind of anime guy is this one going to be?
Yeah. I love it. As soon as what's the childhood best friend's name again? Oh,
Junta.
Junta. As soon as he was introduced, I was like, oh, there's the friend. There's the.
Junta's
Yeah.
actually my favorite.
Oh yeah.
That does not mean I ship them because
Yeah.
actually when people ask me this,
Mhm.
I don't know if you were going to ask me this, but I actually kind of don't want her to be with anybody.
Okay. That's.
But that is because I
Mhm.
feel like that's important. And I feel like for her, the whole thing is that she just needs to learn that it's okay to have friendships and
Mhm.
develop and care about people outside of just her cat and video games.
Yeah.
I understand why everybody loves, they ship her with people.
Mhm.
But if I had to ship her with somebody, I
Okay.
would do Junta
Okay.
because
He's
he
just a sweetheart,
actually,
man.
well, he's the one who
Mhm.
genuinely, without having to her have to prove anything or, he
Mhm.
already cares about her for her and who
Yeah.
she is.
Mhm.
And he never expects her to change or wants her to change, or whereas the other two guys do, and they have their reasons,
Yeah.
for it.
Mhm.
But I just love Junta. He's such
Mhm.
a sweetheart. Every
He
time he
is.
was on screen, I was like, oh, I love Junta. He's
Yeah.
so sweet.
He's just a sweet bean.
He's so sweet, but he's
Yeah.
like the cool athletic one,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I it There's so many things that I say about that show, but
Mhm.
that's the basis of it. It's
Yeah.
like even for people who love anime,
Mhm.
we all know the stereotypical anime
Yep.
tropes. It is so fun to see an anime be self-aware of it and
Mhm.
kind of poke fun at that.
Yeah.
It's great, but also have those real the realness to
Oh
it.
yeah.
the deep, we kind of went into that earlier. There's some deepness in
There
there,
is.
some like, oof. What I liked about it is that you see and I don't want to spoil anything because I want people to watch. Have to look right into the camera for that one.
Yes.
Yes, is that you see so much with that sort of storyline towards women, and it's not often addressed with more masculine presenting characters and people, and it happens. And I think that it was a very important kind of storyline to show, that character go through it.
Yeah.
And it's something to make people aware. It is a thing. I know it's a big thing in Japan especially, but it happens all over the world, and it's just like, oh. And there's those scenes where then Anzu gets targeted, where it was scary. I actually was like nervous. I was like, what's gonna happen? So good.
Oh, by the way, I've been given this pin to show you.
My screen.
It's so good.
They are so cute. I do love their relationship. Some of my favorite scenes is between the two of them, because Anzu, I think he's the character that actually starts to get her to realize that people are people, and there's so much more again than just her little bubble of, her video games and her cats, and that when you allow people in, they have feelings and vulnerabilities, and everybody has a story. You can't judge people. I mean, you can. I judge people. I judge some of you sometimes, but but you can't, I see you. But it's one of those things where I think like their story and their relationship is so important, because she learned so much about him, and he's totally different. Same thing with Hijiri. Totally different. The third guy.
Yeah.
Totally different than what you expect, because people are complicated. We have histories and past experiences and trauma, and sometimes it's worth actually getting to know somebody to realize why that person may be how they are, and it just opens your eyes. And I love that, especially again with their relationship.
100%.
I love it.
Such a good show.
Such a good show.
Yeah, so good.
If we haven't sold you on the show yet, like and there's a cat.
Momohiki is so cute. Oh, so cute. Yeah, when I was recording this at the start, my cat Casper tried to jump on, and he was successful. And if you, I just moved he shook the table, and like I was just like, no, yeah. But big cat fan.
He's so cute. I love kitties. Love cats. Yeah, another way to sell the show. You love cats? You'll love this character, because she is obsessed with cats and potato wizards. We would call Riri that all the time, and we're like, looks like a little flying potato. That little annoying potato flying around. Love it. Love Courtney. So good.
So throughout the show, we've talked about all the different characters you've voiced in anime. Getting on to a little bit more of a miraculous show, so how?
I like every
there
time
she
you bring
is,
something up, I'm like, here's something from that thing.
I could grab all of Moon's miraculous
I
words,
know.
and it's like, yeah.
Moon is amazing. There I am using that word again.
There you go.
I'm like, I said everybody's amazing, but you know what? Everybody is amazing. At least everybody that I talked about on this show. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So you voice Vesperia / Zoe Lee. So how was that kind of process, getting that role or getting on to Miraculous? Yeah.
So miraculous.
Oh yeah.
No, but it's such many Miraculous fans probably already know this. I actually got turned on to the show by the voice actress for my sister Chloe Bourgeois, Stella, because I worked with her on another project that was a live action project. We were filming something, and she had just booked it. So this was before I actually even really started getting into voiceover. I was
Okay.
just starting to take classes, and so I was talking to her about voiceover, and I remember her telling me how excited she was that she booked this show and everything, and she told me all about it. And then I mentioned earlier, I just love animation, so I loved like Witch and Winx Club and all those, stuff like that. And I was like, I'm gonna check this out. So I really liked it already. And I ended up working with Ezra on Megalobox, which is
Okay.
totally an anime I would
Yeah.
never be in, because I was Walla, so background
Okay.
voices.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was
yeah.
very funny because it's like I have such a young, like youthful, like voice,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, I'm blurry.
Oh,
It'll
good.
come back.
Yeah.
It'll come back. It will come back. I'm just gonna keep talking,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it's fine.
All good.
I met Ezra on
Mhm.
that, and I think like we just like clicked right away. Just like we clicked as like just like as people. And I found out he was the director of Miraculous, and he had actually invited me to come into the studio and do like incidentals and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I actually then got to be Kalki, one of the Kwamis, the horse
Mhm.
Kwami. She
Yeah.
was my first role on
Mhm.
Miraculous.
Yes.
And I was so excited just to be Kalki. Um, I love her. I love horses. And so, like, it was really funny because I feel like I get pretty lucky in terms of like characters and voiceovers because, again, my favorite animal is a fox. But there was already a voice actor for the fox, Kwame, and I love bees. But there was already a voice actor for the bee, Kwame, and so I was like, oh, I would love to voice the horse. And then I got to voice a horse. It was so funny how that happened. I had no idea. I knew I was coming in to record, and I was like, maybe it'll be the horse Kwame. And then it was. It was Kalki. And then I got Mulo. They cast me as Mulo, the mouse Kwame, who I have her right here. I have to show her. This is from my
Of
friend Abby.
course.
Thank you, Abby. I love you. But Mulo, so fun. And then eventually I got cast as Zoe. And that was a process because I had auditioned for a couple of other characters, like human characters in the show. Um,
Mhm.
and it never, I don't think, and I actually don't think it fit either. Like I knew that I didn't really fit these characters, but I liked getting to read for them. And people always ask me what they are, and I'm not going to
No, of
say
course.
because it's
Yeah.
not my place to say.
Of course. Mhm.
But they were just characters that I don't think really fit me. And
Mhm.
when Zoe came along, basically they were like, "We got your character. This character's you."
Oh.
And yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I got cast as Zoe. And she's just like the most perfect character for me on that show. Like I couldn't imagine a different character. Like I am so glad
Mhm.
in a way that other characters didn't work. Kind of like what I was talking about Pandora. Like it was an honor then to be Pandora. Like I didn't get these other characters maybe I thought I would get. Cuz Zoe just she's so sweet. She's so sweet. I
Mhm.
relate to her in so many ways, especially when I was, a 14-year-old girl. That whole, she's a very creative type. She wants to be an actress, but she's a little bit like awkward. She was bullied, and stuff like that. And I just love her. I love her so much. And I love Asperia.
Yeah.
I think she's the
Mhm.
coolest. I love her costume design. I love that she has the Bee
Mhm.
Miraculous. She is not Queen Bee, so please, like, she's
Yeah.
Vesperia. Queen Bee is amazing and
Yes.
wonderful and awesome
Mhm.
too, but Vesperia is Vesperia and Queen Bee's Queen Bee. So I love that she's Vesperia.
Exactly.
Yeah. Her little, no, I'm Vesperia. She is so cute. And then just seeing like the cosplays, like Moon is amazing. That's how the cosplay, one of my favorites. I see so many amazing, man, I love that word, but so many wonderful like Zoe and Vesperia cosplays by these fantastic cosplayers. It's so surreal. I I love Miraculous, and I love
Yeah.
working with Ezra. I love working with Christina V and Bryce, who I worked with in Sword Art Online, and it's just such a great show. And the fans are just so, you know, loving, and they love the show. It is the most, like, it's definitely out of all of my projects, including something like Evangelion and Genshin. I think Miraculous is the biggest, most dedicated fan base. We're back.
We're
You
back.
should just edit.
Yeah.
Edit all of this stuff
Yep.
back in.
100%.
After these messages.
Yep.
We'll be right back. No!
Perfect. Before we go, I have one more question. Is there a character you voiced that? Sorry, who is the character you voiced that you connect with the most?
It's hard because
Yeah.
I find that so for me as an actor and me as a person, I try to find something in every character, even the bad ones, that I can maybe connect with. Because I think it's important to be able to understand your character and not to get all method and one of those actors, but it's true. You want to be able to make that character real, at least as real as you can to yourself. So I have connected to so many of them. Anzu, I connect with so much because, I mean, like, who doesn't, though? Video games, chocolate, cats.
Yep.
I mean, again, I was wearing a cat shirt when I went when I went in.
Yeah.
Like, and Crocs. I
Yep.
wear Crocs, and she's wearing Crocs. Like,
Oh
I
my
wear
God.
Crocs.
Yeah.
I wear Crocs.
Yeah.
You know, like, but also, I mean, I think that I relate to Anzu. Zoe, as I was just saying, I especially when I was 14 and I was that age, I could see a lot of myself in her. It's like, you know, there's certain things that I kind of called out on Zoe before it was made official. And
Yep.
did I know? Did I actually know? I didn't know.
No.
But I could see it in the character because I saw it in myself as a young person.
Yeah.
And so there were certain interactions where I was like, I think I know what that is because I experienced that as a young person. And it's always an awkward thing to navigate, you know? But as I mentioned earlier, I think it would be Mari. And it's she's in some ways a strange character to say because she's so mysterious. There's so much we don't know about her. But the fact that out of all of the pilots that she just has this, like, I feel like if I was a pilot, like in that situation, I would probably act the way that she acts. I mean, like, look at me in these interviews. I'm a little, like, kind of out there. I'm a little bit out there.
Yeah.
But it's like because that's like, I don't know. There was something about her character, as I had mentioned earlier, that when I started voicing her, like right away, I just kind of, it was seamless. Like, it all clicked for all of us in the very first session, and I never had any trouble getting into her headspace, even though I didn't, you know, there is a part of her and I think part of that is I have my own theory about Mari. Nothing's been established. I think Maya Sakamoto is the only one who actually might know more, but I don't know. There's just different things with different characters. that I just see and I'm like, that character, I get them.
Of course.
I get them. And I think that's why Mari was just, I had so much fun with her and could play and just dive right into it. Same thing with Zoe. Zoe was another one where it was just like, Ezra told me, he's like, this is you. This is like your character. Like if you were going to be any character, this is it. And then when we started recording her, I'm like, yep, I see why. And again, Anzu. I would say those three. There's several though. Roddy from Death End Request 2.
Okay.
Such a fun game. If you guys have not played them and you like horror but also cutesy girls, Roddy is so cute. I love her and I connected with her right away too. But yeah, those first three that I mentioned, definitely.
And honestly, as an actor, that's what you kind of dream of to have is one character, let alone three that you really, really connect with.
Yeah, and there's also because I got to work with Mike McFarland, who is a wonderful director, wonderful actor, and such a good friend in the Hey Case story. That character is so far my first and only character who is also a dancer, and it's like a big part of her. Who she is and who her character is. And so even though she's a character who's only in a couple of episodes, because I could catch on right away that she's a dancer and that like she is a performer and a creative type, even in Japan, historic Japan, all those many, many years ago, I could relate to her so much. So I've always been grateful for that character as well. She's just so like, I'm like, dancer. Got it. I know who you are. I know who you are.
I know you.
I forget that I voice. This is so true. You'll hear actors be like, I forgot that I was in this thing, or I forgot that I did this thing. And it doesn't, it has nothing to do with like not being grateful or just like not caring about those projects. But we end up doing so many that it's just like, oh, see, oh my gosh. See, I'm looking at it now and I'm like, oh yeah. I from Lupin versus Cat's Eye.
Yep.
Oh, I have so many good ones that I'm like, but you can't mention them all. Awesome.
Thank you again so much for being on here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were my first voice actor I've had on the podcast. It's an honor.
It's an honor. It really is an honor. I put in all our dance stuff. Put this in.
Yep, there we go. I love it. Oh,
no, it was great. You were great. The questions were great. And it is, I ramble on a lot, but it's because I feel like it's all very like, there's a story behind everything.
Yeah.
And it's
totally.
Like, anime.
Yeah, especially thank you to going through all the tech issues. Thank you.
Yes, for anybody watching,
yes,
we did have tech issues, and it happens, but we had fun. We would come back with our dance parties and everything like that. I was taking pictures in the booth and playing. I was not alone.
Yes. Love it.
I have all my friends in my booth to talk to and keep me company.
So where can the lovely people find you?
I do have a Twitter, but I haven't been on Twitter as much anymore. I typically tend to stay on Instagram. I love Instagram, just because of the visual platform and everything that it is. So Instagram at Deneen Melody, Twitter, same thing, Deneen Melody. Those tend to be the two big places that I'm at. I do have a website, deneenmelody.com, that I update, but most of my updates will be on Instagram. I don't have my TikTok. Deleted that. The TikTok was like too much for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, come say hi. I'd love to say hi right back.
Yeah. Go follow her. You can follow me at Corky Cosplays, Adam Corky everywhere else.
Follow.
Subscribe to the Do You Watch Anime YouTube channel. Listen to it on Spotify. Donate to the Ko-fi if helps keep this show going. And yeah, I'll see you next time.
Yay!
Bye, guys. Bye.